Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining me for 3 reasons why traditional social media marketing is holding you back. I'm so glad that you've taken time out of your busy day to learn a little bit more about this topic, and hopefully we'll get you some additional engagement and get you in front of the right people. So the purpose of today is to gain valuable tips on how you can increase engagement, attract new followers, and create offers your potential clients can't resist. So who am I? Well, my name is Anza Goodbar, and I am the founder and CEO of Audientum LLC. I'm a serial entrepreneur since 2004. I have owned 7 businesses, I think eight businesses. 3 of them have been 8-figure businesses. 4 of them have been mid-6 figures. I'm also a 7-time Amazon best-selling author, which is just a fun little tidbit to throw in there. So what are we going to cover today? Today, we're going to talk about why not having a well-defined avatar is preventing you from connecting with your ideal avatar or audience, how knowing who your ideal avatar will help you get more engagement in your attraction and organic marketing efforts, and we're going to talk about what you can do to help monetize your paid ads. So I am going to apologize just on the front end before we get started. I am dealing with a little bit of a tickle in my throat. Fall has settled into Colorado, and so I may be having to pause to drink a little bit today. So I just want to apologize that we might have a little issue with our flow, but stick with me. I've got some good stuff planned. So one of the things, for those of you who follow me, you've heard me say this a million times, and you'll probably hear me say it a million times more. Your avatar is the heart of your business, right? It is where everything flows from when it comes to creating content and connecting with your ideal avatar. So your avatar is the most powerful tool for creating your brand. Why? Excuse me, because you can't work with everyone. And if you try, you are going to fail miserably. Developing a well-defined avatar provides you with the intimate details of your audience. These nuances will help you create messaging that speaks directly to them and where they are in their life. Now, why does this matter? Well, it matters because if you're trying to talk to everyone, no one is going to hear your message. All of the vague general things that you have to say, while they may be value-packed and good, they're not resonating with anyone. I'm going to tell you a story about one of my clients. His name is Chris, and we met, probably 5 years ago at an event. And I've been kind of following his career, and he's a friend of another client of mine. And my one client said, I just need to reintroduce the 2 of you because he's not getting traction. And he shows up 110% every single day. In 3 years, he's missed doing 1 live video. He does a live video every business day, if you can believe it. And he shows up like clockwork. His stuff is valuable. Well, a few weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago, excuse me, I was at an event and he happened to be speaking, and my other client was there, and he said, I want to reconnect the 2 of you. So we started talking, and he said, excuse me, I would really love to get some feedback on my presentation. And so I said, absolutely, would love to. So we scheduled a face-to-face meeting. We spent about 4 hours going through his strategy, his collateral, his service, his business. And you know what? This guy is great. He has so much to give, but he's trying to talk to entrepreneurs, to C-level executives, to youth in leadership, and to martial arts business owners, all with the same content. Nobody's picking up what he's laying down because nothing is specific that's speaking to them. Now, his programs and his services fit each of those people like a glove, but the languaging that he's using is not adequate to reach the markets he's trying to serve. One of the things that he said to me that I hear clients say a lot is, I'm really good at knowing who I am. I know my avatar. And in many cases, our avatar is very similar to the avatar that we're trying to serve, right? And so you want to be really keened in on who are you? What is your unique selling proposition? What makes you uniquely qualified to serve this particular group of people? But then on the other hand, you need to know exactly who it is you're serving. And if you serve more than one avatar, you need to have messaging that is directly related to them. Okay. So knowing who you're talking to drives your content. It drives your blog posts. It drives your Facebook Lives. It drives your training. It drives your social media posts. It is the engine. It's the fuel that feeds your engine, right? It keeps you going. So, why does that matter? Well, it matters because if you're not talking specifically to one person, you're going to not be speaking to anyone. One of my clients is a transition coach, and when she came to work with me, I'm like, well, what does that mean? And she said, I work with people with women who are in transition in their lives. And I said, oh, that's great. That means every woman on the planet could be her potential client if that's what she does, because every woman I know is either transitioning into or out of a situation at any given time in her life. And so I said, are you working with new moms? Are you working with moms who just sent their last kid to school? Are you working with moms who are empty nesters? Are you working with women with chronic illnesses? Are you working with someone who's gone through a loss? All of those are transitions, but they all require very specific languaging to relate to where that person is in her life. And so you really need to know who it is that you're talking to, that one person, that one problem. You can't catch the attention of an audience if you're talking to many people simultaneously. You're going to save yourself time and money by knowing who this person is. You're going to be so much more efficient with your time. You're going to have so much more clarity in the content that you're creating. And you're going to be able to set yourself up as an expert because this person is going to feel seen, heard, and understood. I have a client over in the UK, and she's a coach for attorneys. And we were talking about a particular launch. And she said to me, these people are not like your normal people in the US who are used to being pitched and launched and seeing, this string of emails. They are very short on their time. They are very precise in what they're looking for. And, we tweaked a lot of the launch strategy that I'm very familiar with. She did a launch today and it was quite successful. Why? Because she knew exactly who her audience was. She knew exactly what their pain point was. The people responded to her webinar hands down, and she served them exactly what they needed, where they needed it, in helping them grow their law career. And so the more you know about your avatar, the more successful you're going to be as you enter into your social media strategies. So the next thing we want to talk about is organic or attraction marketing. So many people tell me, I'm out there, I'm doing all the things, but I'm not getting any traction. Why? What's going on? Well, one of the biggest reasons that you're struggling with this is you're not clear on who you're talking to. And so your message gets muddled in translation. People aren't seeing you for who it is that you are and the great value that you can bring to them and how you can help them solve their problems. I have another client that I've been working with, and her whole attitude with the avatar is, I don't need to build one. I don't know who that is. I'm just going to start putting out some content and I'm going to see who shows up. And unfortunately, people are not showing up in her business. People who are qualified to work with her are not showing up in her business. And so you want to be really clear on, again, who that avatar is so you can make it easy for people to show up and find you. One of the biggest ways that I have grown every business that I have had is by making myself searchable. I want to be searchable in the terms that my audience is using to find the service and product that I provide. And that's the key with attraction marketing, is being able to speak your avatar's language as fluently as they do. And so you want to make sure that you're using the words that they use and you're omitting the words that do not resonate with them as you're going through and setting up your SEO, your headlines. All of those things are super important. So once you have their interest, you can share your expertise, right? You can position yourself as that go-to person to solve their problem. One of the women that signed up for our course today is a relationship expert. She wants to be known as that go-to person for building a great marriage, for having solid communication in your relationship. You want your name to roll off the tip of somebody's tongue when someone is saying, do you know anyone who does XYZ, right? So this strategy allows you to share stories that are going to resonate with them, that are going to help position you in such a way that you're the person that they think of when they're ready to make that purchase. It gives you an opportunity to speak directly to their pain point, to their problem, and offer your unique solution, whether it's a program, a method, a strategy, a handout, whatever it is that you're offering. You want them to know that you understand them and that you can get them from point A to point B. So what does attraction marketing look like? Well, it can look like a lot of different things. A lot of headlines for attraction marketing might be how to become an Amazon #1 bestseller. So if you're working with, wannabe authors, that's going to grab their attention. They're like, yeah, I don't want to just write a book. I want to become a best-selling author, right? And so when you're looking at this, not only when you're building out your avatar, do you want to know the demographics? You want to know the psychographics, right? You want to know what makes them tick. How do they process their information? There was this great example in this book that I read recently, Copywriting Secrets by Jim Edwards. And he gave an example of a headline that he was using to attract people for a course that he had created. And so it was how to become a best-selling author, right? Or how to have a best-selling book. And he really thought that how to become a best-selling author was going to be the winner when he did his A/B testing. But what he learned was that people were really afraid of being a best-selling author. It was much more comfortable with where they were in their mindset to have a best-selling book. And so again, it's important the words that you use, the way you assemble those words, who they're targeted at, and how are they processing? What's important? What are their values? I was having this same conversation with Chris in our meeting, and he was sharing with me one of his acquaintances, and he had made the faux pas of referring to this person that he knew as a bookseller, because he had a business that sold books. And the gentleman was very adamant that I'm not a bookseller. I own a business that sells books, right? So you need to know, what is your avatar's identity? How do they want their identity to be perceived? What is it? Is it money that's motivating them? Is it status? Is it, is it being loved and accepted? Is it avoiding pain? What is that motivation? Because that's going to play into your attraction marketing and organic marketing messaging. So here's another one, 7 simple steps to practice self-care. You're dealing with maybe busy moms. How can I do this simply? What's going to make the difference? I was talking to a mom the other day, and she was telling me that she was actually doing exercises while on the toilet. She said, I just don't have a free minute. So every time I sit down on the toilet, I have my little 5-pound weights and I'm lifting my weights while I'm going to the bathroom and, doing this little exercise so I can fit it into my day. So, what's going on in the life of your avatar? You need to know those things, because then and only then can you devise some kind of solution for their particular issue, right? It's so important. Here's a couple others. The Ultimate Guide to Planning a Destination Wedding. That might be very specific to a small group of people that are looking to do their wedding away from home. What do they need to know? That is not going to resonate with someone who's having a huge family wedding, in the town that they live. They're not going to be interested in those tips. So knowing who it is that you're talking to is really going to make a difference. Here's another one. What is kale and how to use it in kid-friendly meals, right? Somebody who has grown kids who eat a balanced diet is not going to be attracted to that. A mom with a toddler who refuses to eat vegetables, that could be very enticing for her. Here's another one, 3 secrets to setting healthy boundaries. Who's that going to go to? Who is going to resonate to the word secret? Is secret the right word? Is it a strategy that maybe is going to work better? At the beginning of the pandemic, I was still doing a lot of business coaching, and my business was languishing a little bit. And I thought to myself, you know what? People are looking at coaching as being a fluffy thing that they can live without. But you know what? They need strategies for how to build and grow their business. And so I changed everything I was doing from coaching to strategizing, and my business actually exploded. And so you really need to understand who you're talking to, what's important to them, what is it that they need, and how can you package it in a way that's really going to resonate with them and help them get from point A to point B? Because, their pain is on one side, where they want to be is on the other side. Your content is that bridge, is that conduit that's going to get them from over here to over here, so you can actually work with them and help them change their life, right? You're helping them with a mindset, with a transition, right? With a solution to their problems. 5 tricks to minimizing transitions in your daily routine. Maybe there's some people who have shiny object syndrome and you're trying to help them with productivity hacks in your business and helping them to produce more by actually working less, right? 3 tricks to get your brain into eating less. People who struggle with weight loss or with just eating healthy, maybe those are some tricks. So there's several different things. 9 powerful techniques. What's the number 1 method to doing something? How to stop doing one thing, like stop making cold calls and learn how to sell without being salesy. The number 1 business formula for coaches, right? 10 things every online coach needs to know. Those are all snappy, grabby headlines that speak to someone's pain point. But again, you need to really know who your ideal avatar is so you can target your message appropriately to them. None of these headlines that I shared today are going to hit a group of people. They're designed for one specific group who has one ideal goal in mind, right? So let's talk a little bit about monetizing your paid ads. Oh, people either love them or hate them. And I'll tell you, over the course of my career, I've been in the online space since 2008. I have donated tens of thousands of dollars in ads that did not produce. And, why didn't they convert for me? Well, early in my career, I wasn't exactly sure who it was I was working for or wanting to work with. I had a kind of a vague idea of what they look like. And at that time, I was really tied into just the demographic issues. I had not yet been introduced to all of the psychographic issues that really were what mattered. And I left it up to the algorithm to be able to find the people that I wanted using the tools that were available inside of Ads Manager. Now I have come to realize that the tools inside of Ads Manager are really lacking when you take a look at it. So, running ads hasn't always been effective for all coaches and consultants out there. For some, it's been a gold mine, and it has been a perfect way to be able to scale your business and create consistent income. That has been for the minority of people that I have seen, like I said, since 2008. But with all the recent changes going on with Apple, with privacy laws, in the US and in Europe, things are becoming a little bit more difficult because you're losing the identifier for advertisers, which is going to decrease the size of like a Facebook audience when you're building it through Facebook. And that's a big deal, right? It's limiting the number of people that are going to see your advertisements. The loss of access to what I want to say to this information is causing the algorithms to have a longer period of time for learning. I was running some ads recently, and my algorithm was in the learning phase for 7 days. I paid for ads for 7 days for the algorithm to learn who it was that I wanted my ads to be served to. And I was like, that's just not acceptable, right? And then you look at 30% of profiles are either fake or bots. So that's a lot of money that's just immediately going down the drain when you're looking at paid ads. So as a result, the most significant impacts of all of these changes are going to be on third-party audience channels that rely on specific data for Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or YouTube to be able to have access to. Over the years, if you've been in this space for any amount of time, you've seen the amount of data that you can tap into inside of Ad Manager, decrease and diminish. And I would venture, I guess there's maybe around 30 data points that you can dig into. Most of them are demographic. There's not a lot of psychographic information that you can dig into. So what can you do? Right? It sounds a little bit hopeless, right? Well, success with ads is dependent on clearly defining your avatar, right? The more details that you have about that person, the better off you're going to be when it comes to building an audience inside of Ads Manager. And so again, you want to look at things beyond gender, marital status, income, job, maybe who they follow, what their income is. That's all really great to know, but that's all really easy stuff to get a hold of, right? You want to know what's going on inside of her life. Is she the decision maker? Does she need to get permission from her husband before she buys a big ticket item? How many kids does she have? How old are they? Where does she live? What does her day-to-day life look like? So you can
I don't know what in God's name.
Exactly what is going on in your avatar's life. So you can drive your images, your headlines, and your content appropriately, because all of that is really going to matter. So, when we think about data sounds like it's a computer generated thing, right? Like we're building our own little robots and we're talking to them. Data are really just characteristics about certain, the certain people that you're wanting to work with. So there's a couple schools of thought about how you can reach your audience. And, really, you've got you've got three options, seriously. You can reach your ideal client organically, which can take a lot of time. I read some stats that between 3.9 and 6.1% is how much engagement you can expect to get on your social posts. That's pretty low if you're looking at building an audience that's big enough for you to convert, right? And so, you definitely could do that. You can also find your people by using audience building on social platforms. Again, building an audience inside of your ads manager, but you're giving up some of your control and you're relying on an algorithm to be able to build out who it thinks your ideal audience is. I'll tell you, gosh, this was 5 years ago. I was advertising to couples. I was doing couples coaching at that time in my coaching career, and I was advertising over Black Friday for a retreat that I was doing over Valentine's Day weekend. And the algorithm decided that my ideal client were men between the ages of 26 and 28 in Kenya. And they all thought that I was advertising for an African husband. And so my email was going crazy with people wanting to know more about this thing I was doing. You know what? Facebook didn't refund any of my money. They didn't credit anything. They just said, oh, so sad, too bad. And it was like, that wasn't what my settings were set on. So, you can leave it up to the algorithm to find your audience for you, but you might be surprised with who it comes up with. Or you can build a curated audience based on your specific criteria. No more guessing about who your audience is, where they are, who sees your ads, right? So you can be in control of who you actually advertise to and take some of the guesswork out. So you want to sell out your programs, right? That's why we're all in business. We've got a product or a service to sell. Peter Drucker says that the purpose of your business is to create customers, right? You see a problem, you provide a solution, bam, you're in business. So, today we've been talking about things that have been holding you back by using traditional social media tactics. And, maybe it's been a little discouraging, feeling like there's some things that are out of your control. But I want you to know that I've got some encouraging news for you. There are things that you can do that you're in control of, right? So for any launch that you're doing for a product or service, you need 3 things to be successful. You need to have the right audience, which starts with building out your avatar so you know exactly who they are. You need to have your right messaging. Your message needs to be targeted towards that one person and what they're going through. And then you need to have your right offer. Your offer is going to speak to them directly so they know that they're being seen, heard, and understood. And of course, as a general rule of thumb, as with anything in life, you need to be in front of them at the right time. It might not be the right time right now, but it might be in 90 days. It might be in 120 days, right? And so you need to build in your nurturing system to be able to keep them in your funnel, in your pipeline, right? So over the past 14 years, I have seen processes come and go. I've seen trends get really popular, and I've seen trends wane. And you know what? The one thing that I have seen consistently over the past 14 years is nobody talks about the power of being in front of the right audience. It might be grow a giant Facebook group and you're going to make all this money. That's a lot of work. It takes an awful lot of time, and not everybody has that skill set to be able to build that big group. And if that big group is not a group of your ideal people, having that group is not valuable to you. One of my friends is a coach, and she was wanting to grow her Facebook group, a new group. And so she held a contest, and she asked several of us to donate something. And she had a package worth, I don't know, $77,000 when you added up, everybody's stuff. And so she held a contest where you got this really hefty grand prize. And then there were two smaller prize packages. And so she said, whoever invites the most people wins, right? Easy. So of course I wanted to play along. She didn't give us any guideline about invite this type of person. And so, everybody just invited all of these people. I think she grew her group to be about 4,600 over the course of 7 to 10 days. It was pretty short. But then she ran a launch and she didn't convert anything. Well, she didn't convert anything because none of the people were her people. And so she came back to me and she said, Anza, what do I do with all of these people? Can I uninvite them to my group? They're not participating. They're not buying from me. And I'm like, absolutely you can, right? So you want to be very specific in who you're inviting onto your email list, who you're inviting into your Facebook groups, because you only want to spend the time and energy developing relationship with people that are going to become clients, that you're going to be able to serve and add value to. So, as I look at all of these different systems, the thing that I have found is missing is helping people get in front of the right people. A recent statistic that I saw said most coaches never make it to year 4 in their business because they just absolutely burn out and they give up because they're spending all of their time creating content, looking for people, doing all the things that people say that you need to do, and none of it's working. And so again, it goes back to who is your ideal customer and what do you know about them? What do you need to learn about them? So, it doesn't matter what kind of launch system you use. You need to have an audience. I mean, that's really the bottom line. Russell Brunson says you're just one funnel away from making $1 million. Well, that's true if you have a group of people that are your people that you're selling to. If you're relying on an algorithm to choose who those people are, it might take you a lot of funnels to get to $1 million. You may never get there. Kelly Roach and her live launch method suggests that you could get 6-figure bumps in your business by using her live launch method. Again, if you have the audience in place, that's going to happen for you. If you don't have the right people in place, it's going to be a struggle. So how do you do that? The better you know your avatar, the more effective you're going to be in all of your messaging, in your blogs, in your workshops, in your webinars, in your lunch and learns, in your ads, right? In your social media posts. That is what you need to do to be able to really sell your programs. You need to make sure that your people are totally sold into what you're doing. So let's just do a little recap about what we talked today. The avatar is the heart of your business. It's the heart and soul of your business. You need to have a highly defined avatar to create content that will connect with your ideal client. If you serve more than one person, and you need to have a message designed for each of them. Organic attraction marketing only works when you know the problem you're solving and who you're solving it for. So you need to be really clear. Again, you might be dealing with productivity hacks. Maybe you're working with entrepreneurial women and corporate women. Absolutely, you can do that, but you need to have a different message to attract each of those women. We talked about monetizing your ads and how that will only happen if you have an audience filled with the right people. You can't rely on audience building on social media platforms to be able to provide who it is that you want to work with 100% accuracy. It just isn't a realistic expectation. And if you want to sell out your programs, you need 3 elements. You need the right people, the right message and the right offer to be able to help them say yes to you right away. So, what's the big idea today? What's the thought that I want to leave you with? Well, I have a couple. One, and I know you're probably sick of me saying this, but the avatar is the heart and soul of your business. If you're trying to talk to everyone, no one is going to hear your messaging. It sounds counterintuitive, I know, but I promise you with every fiber of my being, it's absolutely true. The more specific and targeted you are in your message, the more successful you are going to be. If you are serving multiple avatars, you want to segment your list and you want to be specific in your messaging for each one of those types of people. 2, for attraction marketing, it's great to have a mix of organic and paid strategies to be bringing people into your funnel and keeping them in your pipeline. You want to make sure that you're answering the questions that your ideal avatar has and that you are positioning yourself as the expert, the go-to girl for whatever it is that pain point is that they're dealing with. And 3, for monetizing your ads, the more you know, the higher your success rate, right? You want to know your ideal avatar like you know the back of your hand. You want to know that person like your best friend. You want to know what's in their heart, what's in their mind, how they process decisions. And more importantly, you want to understand what are their buying habits, right? Because when we understand their past behavior, it's easier for us to predict their future action taking. And that's how we walk them through our funnel, right? We know where they're at. We know where they want to be. We know what they've tried. We know what their habits are, and we're able to handhold them through the process. And then number 4, you want to sell out your programs. And you know what? Selling out your programs is a byproduct of number 1. It's a byproduct of number 2. It's a byproduct of number 3. Those things all work in harmony together. So if you're serious about consistent sales and scaling your business, those are the stepping stones that you need to help you get there. So let's talk a little bit about additional resources, certainly, because this is what I do in my business, I think that curated audiences are the answer to your problem in making engagement. I think anytime you can customize a group of people that you're going to be in front of, you're going to have much higher levels of success. But I also recognize that not everybody's ready to make that kind of investment in their businesses. And so what can you do on your own to learn more about your ideal person? Well, one thing you can do is you can take polls. You can take surveys. You can host marketing research calls with people that you believe to be your ideal customer or close to it, right? It might be friends and family that are really close to that fit. So you can ask them questions about how they think and feel and what they want and what they desire and, all of those types of things that are going to help you customize your messaging. You can go through profiles on Facebook or LinkedIn and you can create a spreadsheet and you can log in a lot of the demographic information to see where there are similarities. And, by looking at posts that people are commenting on, you can take that information, the information from your polls, and you can create that. You can be in the DMs and you can be doing some social selling and asking those types of questions as well. It's time consuming, folks. It's a commitment to be able to do that. So, but those are things that you definitely could do. So today, as we kind of bring this to a close, there are things that we all can be doing in our business to grow our business, right? And I look at it this way: you're going to make the investment in one of 2 ways. You're going to spend cold hard cash to get the the result or the product that you need, or you're going to spend sweat equity in your business and you're going to, figure it out yourself. You're going to mine it yourself. To what degree of accuracy and how beneficial the stuff that you uncover is negligible, right? It kind of depends on who you serve, what your market is, the problem that you're solving. And so it's hard to kind of quantify that. The organic and manual way can be a time-consuming effort. It might not generate the exact results that you're looking for, but it would definitely give you some more hints that would help you in creating better content. Looking at organic movement with the algorithms, you are certainly at the mercy of how the algorithms are spreading the word for what you're doing. And, there's a lot of things that you can do, which is another conversation to help beat the algorithm. But nonetheless, it's things that you're not necessarily totally in control with. And as a business owner, you want to own your own data at the end of the day. So many of my clients were totally panicked when they were locked out of Facebook, when it went down for the day. What am I going to do? All of my contacts are in Facebook, or all of my contacts are in LinkedIn. You want to own that data. Make sure that you are capturing email addresses, either by getting them as people join your group, using lead magnets. Own your data so you're in control of your business. If something were to happen to any social media platform, you don't want to be left high and dry. Methods for mining for customers are changing. At Audientum, we are on the cutting edge of lead generation. There's nobody out there in the marketplace that is doing what we do the way we do it. Leveraging data, using data mining experts to pull together the information to build an audience based on specific criteria. I don't know if you all know this, but there are over 5,500 points of data that are created by collected from all of us each and every day. If you're on social media, if you use location services on your phone, if you use Alexa or Siri, these conversations are being captured. Your actions are being captured, right? All of the time. And so we as business owners should be able to leverage that information. Even though it's not being made available to you through Ads Manager, it does not mean that it is not available to you through other means. So, think about the things that you need to know about your avatar and what you want to learn about them. Up until now, using a curated audience was a big business tool that was not affordable for the small business owner. And so here at Audientum, we have created an 8-step, 8-week process to build an audience that we know is pre-qualified to work with you. You do all of the work on the front end. So once your audience is delivered, you're able to start building relationship with those people. And you're able to have already overcome the objections that maybe you have experienced in the past, because that has all been filtered and sorted on the front end. If there's something that you need to take your business to the next level, and if you think this might be an option for you, I would invite you to pick up the phone and schedule a call with us. Get some more information. We're very low key over here at Audientum. We want to help you succeed and find a solution for sustainable business growth. So, what are next steps that you could take to really start setting yourself up for success in 2022? Well, one, you could revisit your avatar and see what it is that you need to learn about them. We have a great free workbook called 101 Questions You Need to Ask to Get to Know Your Avatar. Reach out to me if that's something that you would like. It is not the end all be all. When we build audiences here at Audientum, we use more than 550 data points. We're talking about 100 here, but it will get you maybe thinking about some things that you haven't thought about before that would be useful for you to be able to increase your engagement by having better targeted messaging. 2, you can conduct market research, right? We talked a little bit about doing polls and surveys, doing market research calls. You definitely can invest the time to do that. Look for trends that are going on. If you're not quite sure about who your audience is, maybe reverse engineer it and look at who are they not. What qualities don't you want in a client that you're going to be working with? And so there's a couple ways that you can do that through looking at, number 1 and number 2. Number 3, you can look at your marketing strategy and see what's working. If you're not getting engagement, are you showing up on the right platforms? Are you posting the right kind of posts? If not, you could reach out to us, and we do have a marketing strategy calendar that we could help you put together that would be specific to your niche. We have a little short version of an audience builder that helps us create the type of engagement posts for you to A, learn more about your clients, but B, get them talking to you and, helping to make your social media efforts far more effective. And then, of course, if you're doing paid ads too, you should be seeing better results because of the better language and format that you're using. 4, if you're not a part of our Facebook group, you could join our Facebook group, Data-Driven Leads for Coaches and Consultants. We do try and do a training live at least once a week, and we share different tips and tricks that you can do to leverage data in order to have higher performing leads. Because let's face it, all leads are not created equally, right? I was talking to a sales call with a financial advisor a couple of weeks ago, and she said, I'm used to paying a lot of money for leads, but I'm not getting good leads. So, it's really important to know, do you want to spend your time reading people out on phone calls, or do you want to spend your time having conversations with people who have an interest and can afford your product or service? And then 5, again, if you think that having a curated audience would be something that could help you meet and exceed your revenue goals in 2022, we'd love to have a conversation with you and let you know what possibilities are available. Next week is Thanksgiving, and we are going to be closed next week. We're going to be traveling to see family, so there will not be training next week. We will be back on December 1st, and we're going to talk about business goals and what you can do to reach your financial goals in 2022. So you guys have a safe and happy holiday, and we will see you in 2 weeks.